out when things don't work as according to plan. So thank you very much again, and I hope that we do enjoy the session together tonight. And then I also welcome questions at the end of the session. Thank you very much. Faith, would you want to do the honors to share the slides, or should I do that? Should I? Hi, Faith. Can you hear me? Yeah, I said, should I share my slides myself, or would you want to help to do that? Okay, I should share right? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so if you can see my screen, just give me just give a thumbs up. All right, thank you. So I'm just going to be playing this bit so that's more visible for everybody to see. Yeah, how about now? Good, right? All right, great. So, okay, yeah. So this evening I was thinking about balancing tools, infrastructures, and manpower effectively. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so I think I've already done introductions, so I don't think I'm going to bore us with too many introductions again, other than I'm a QA engineer, just like yourself, and I like to, break things, like to build good systems that works over time, that thrives, that people use and enjoy, and then give good feedback. I'm mostly very keen on user experience, not just to just test for testing sake, but to ensure that things are thoroughly tested, and put myself in the user's shoe and ensure that everything is properly tested before they get to use it. Right. So that's that. So next slide. Now, why does this topic matter? Talking about tools, infrastructure, and manpower. Why does it matter? Right. So the first point is that rapid delivery expectations. So companies push, releases very fast. I'm sure that is these days, currently right now, where you have to ship things as fast as you can. So there's need for you to work with tools, for you to work with manpower, over time, right? So without balance, speed comes at the cost of quality or team health. So if you don't have a proper balance, there might be issues, in terms of the strength of the team, in terms of the productivity of the team, how the team would be more productive. When I mean team now, I mean the QA team, as a whole, and also even the development team in general. So if you don't balance your tools, if you don't balance the infrastructure and the manpower, there'll be a lot of deficiency, in the long run, right? Tools and tech explosion, or teams risk to fatigue. So when there's no proper balance in managing your tools and manpower, you get what we call tool fatigue. You go call redundancy. Many people just have tools that they're not using. It's just there, lying there, and the company is wasting money buying, keep buying the tools, paying for the tools every month, but it's not properly being utilized, right? So underutilization without clear strategy. So just get tools. I say, oh, we want to use this tool. We want to use Cypress. We want to use Selenium. We want to use this. And another day, many of us don't use this. We just keep it there. We just use it there, and the company is paying for it, right? Wastes, and it's just there, not properly being used. And then next, we have the complex infrastructure demands, right? So we work with clouds. In our various companies, we work with clouds, DevOps, AWS, Kubernetes, and the likes. Talking about containers, CI/CD, and environments. Okay, the demands, smart setup and maintenance. So these things, the cloud, the pipelines that we create, they need us to continuously maintain them from time to time, And poor infrastructure planning can block deployments and increase costs. So if you don't have a proper infrastructure, if you don't have a good balance of your tools, you it will cost the company, it will cost the team productivity, to cost the team, in terms of spending, it will cost the team the time, wasting of time, and then have to go back again to start from scratch, right? So that's why this topic actually matters a lot. Many people, a lot of people have, if you are very, very, very used to LinkedIn very well, you see that currently now, the most trending topic right now on LinkedIn right now is about, you see about QAs. I mean, I think for the past two, three, four, a month or 2 months now, it's been trending on QA. Oh, QA this, Playwright, Cypress. Oh, QA mana testing is not this and that, blah 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 blah, and it's all the same cycle, right? But many people don't talk about even when you acquire these tools, even when you know these tools, properly manage them, properly balancing them, it makes you much more effective, right? Not just about getting the tools in your pocket, but also knowing how to balance it so that it makes you uh, effective. There's a difference between working hard and working smart, right? The tools that you have might make you work a bit, let's say harder, right? But knowing how to balance everything will make you work smarter, right? So you know when not to use when not to overuse it, when to use them so that everything can properly balanced. Are we aligned? I mean, can I say thumbs up if you are together? Are we on the same page? All right, thank you very much. Okay, so next slide. So the agenda for today, just very good, very brief, but is I'm sure definitely going to be very, very, should help us, understand stuff. So the first one is looking at the balancing act, and then we'll look at some couple of one of the scenarios, and then we'll look at the framework, and then we'll also look, and then we have taking questions for Q&A if you have any questions, and yeah. So let's go with the first one, which is balancing the act now. So balancing the tools, the infrastructure, and the manpower, right? So what is a tool, right? A tool is what helps you as a team to work faster and smarter, and too many tools or the wrong ones can slow down the team, right? Which is very true. So if you have too many tools being used, or you have, yeah, I mean, you're using the wrong one, it will not make you work very fast. Right? But tool is something that helps you to be able to work smarter. It involves human interaction. It involves, some don't involve human, but it helps you to be able to scale faster, to work faster and get things done quickly. Infrastructure keeps everything running smoothly behind the scenes, like your pipelines, your your data dog, for helping to log, to check for logs and stuff like that. These are things that are like infrastructure that are being created for you to be able to make things work for you behind the scenes, to check for stores when things are not working fine. How can I track this? How can I get this? What can I understand in detail where this is failing, right? So those are part of the infrastructures that you be set in place for you to use, right? And it needs to be reliable and fit for your team size and needs, right? So different team size equals the kind of tool that you're going to use, right? Some teams are very large, therefore it's understandable that they might want to get a bigger tool structure for them. Some teams are very small, are kind of small on the average side. They need to also look for what works for them so that they don't, just keep going around in circles. And then we have the manpower, right, which involves the team, which involves myself, which involves you, the QA, the developer, the product manager, the scrum master, everybody on the team, right? And the team are the most important asset ever, right? The team is the most important. No matter what, you cannot place tool over the human assets. The human is very, very important, right? Next one is, they need the right skills, the time and support to do their jobs well. So manpower are the people who are going to do the job, right? And for them to do the job, they need the right skill, they need the right mindset, the insight, the knowledge, right, to be able to put all those things together to make use of the tool and the infrastructure that they need, right, to get the job done. And there's a problem. I added a problem here that when there's too much work, not enough people, okay, or the wrong team structure. So there could be a deficiency in the manpower when you have too much work to do and there's not enough tool to support to help, right? Or there's not enough people, right? There's too much work for too many people for less people. You have the work of like to be done like by 5 to 10 people. Only one person is doing that job. There'll be fatigue, there'll be stress, right, on that person, right? And then the wrong team structure, right? When the team is not properly structured in a way that will bring forth productivity, right? The manpower is as good as nothing, right? So next slide here is look at a scenario. So scenario one is that we have an overbuilt infrastructure and we have an underskilled team, right? So a startup, scale their infrastructure rapidly. They have Kubernetes, they have multiple cloud deployments using Terraform, service and the likes. But most of the teams, are still on junior level, and they don't really have DevOps knowledge like that. All right. And one of the things that impacted that this has impacted on cost is high deployment failures, because we have a high sophisticated tool, right, that is deployed for your company to use, and you don't have people who are very skilled to use it. There'll be problem, there'll be frustration, right? Yeah, so one of it is high deployment failures, and you have constant reliance on one dev experts, right? Which is there's a dev person that is an expert on the field who definitely have a lot of overload, because people will they'll begin to call you and say, oh, I don't understand this. How do I do this? How do I work with this too? How do I work with Jenkins? How do I push to Jenkins? How do I make Jenkins responsive on just one person? But if they had the knowledge, if they had the skill, the going to the DevOps person time will reduce, because they already know what to do. If they are reaching out to DevOps person, they are asking maybe reasonable and very straightforward questions directly, maybe on something else, not for installation, not for how do I, as little as how do I create a pipeline, or how do I create a test on Jenkins or something else, right? Because they already have knowledge, right? And then what was done around to resolve this was they had to create a simplified infrastructure, okay, move some services back to monoliths. So some infrastructures were taken were simplified so that it doesn't get complicated, so that the junior ones can understand how it works, right? And then peer teams with external DevOps members. So they had to bring in an external DevOps member to be able to also be an assistant to the team, to help them, to train them, and then to be available if they need any help or anything, right? And then focused on upskilling internally before the scaling infrastructure again. So they had to focus on upskilling every member of a team to ensure that they are aligned, they understand the tool that the companies are using before they can allow them to use those tools again. And that's one of the reasons why you have onboarding sessions that happens when you join the companies most times, often, because it's not all the time. So companies don't even do onboarding; they just throw in the fire. Go and do it yourself, and then understand some things. If you are confused, ask questions. Right? Yes, they don't. Some companies don't even do it. They just tell you, "Welcome on board. You said you wanted to work with us. Join us. Oh yeah, take. This is Jenkins. Go and set it up. Meet the DevOps person. Or this is a playwright. You said you can write scripts, have you? Say yes, and then okay, yeah, take. That's all. So so um we need to, so they focus on upskilling internally, and then before they now say, okay, come and use this tool again, right? Yeah. So next, another scenario is we have the right people and we have the wrong tools, right? So it comes a team of the text stack. So you can see the word there. They are forced. I guess they are forced to use it. Like, look, we are paying for this. Maybe one ancient person said, you know what? I mean, I've used this tool in my company. You guys can also use this tool now. So recommend. And I say, oh, and it's nice, oh. And then okay, buy, and then they pay for it and say, QA, you guys must use this tool. This is the tool that you must use. And like, I know we cannot use them. We cannot use Playwright. We are still trying to. We still understand Cypress a bit. Say no. You must use Playwright, or you must use Selenium. And it didn't fit into their tech stack at that time. So, for example, say maybe Java-based tool for a team working on JavaScript, right? Or they just say, yeah, oh, from going forward, QA team, we're working on Ruby and Rails now, so go and learn Ruby and Rails. Nothing. That's all. No, no upfront. But we are not even learned that. No. That's what the company wants now. There'll be a lot of problem, a big problem. And what this would impact, what would cause is slower test creation. I can tell you that the team here would really struggle in adopting that new. So let's forget about AI now. Forget about AI that we have AI. Let's forget about what's this common place that people go to now go to before AI to ask questions. I'm trying to remember that now. Forget about those places. Sometimes you get frustrated. You even go, might not even get an answer to what you're looking for, right? You have to check, go on YouTube, look for things. You don't get answers because maybe somebody else has not even worked on that tool yet. So you will do a review and say, okay, I want to do a tutorial for that, right? So it gets frustrating, right? Which is the next point, team frustration, right? And then reduce innovation and test coverage because of the fact that the team is not using what they are used to or what they have experienced in, or they are taking their time to learn more and understand. They have reduction in motivation and test coverage, right? They don't get motivated to write tests or even create test coverages across the application. It's just like, see, I mean, it's not just flowing, right? Because they're not used to that tool, right? And then how did this team resolve their issue, right? They had to present a proposal, backed by data to switch their tools, right? They had to say, okay, you know what? Fine, we understand that this is what you want, but this will not work for us. And they had to with backed up data and say this is how this tool will support us. This is how we feel like this tool will help us in our job as QA engineers, make us more productive, will give us a 360-degree view of what we're looking for, and XYZ. And I mean, we're able to convince the stakeholders with practical insight and data and some little samples of what they have worked on, and how it will shape the QA culture of this company. And lastly, they have to migrate to a tool that align with their skills, right? So move to a tool that align with their skills. Currently at my company right now, when I joined working in Cypress, and at some point we had to move from Cypress to Playwright. Now we didn't do, or we have not even done a full migration, right? There's still like some people are still using Cypress here today, right? While they are still learning Playwright on the background. So they are doing like a soft transitioning, right? Gradually. But we still have the existing Cypress codes that I've written in the background still there, and we work using it gradually. And we're still learning the Playwright also on the other side, right? Till we fully master it, and then we can now transition. So you don't just move because a new tool is out and then you move and say, oh, I divorce Cypress and I marry Playwright because Playwright sounds very unique, or everybody's using Playwright now. I want to move to Playwright. A lot of people is just like you just shoot yourself in the leg. You need to understand the tool you are working with. You need to know the tool that works best for you. Just like with the going to market to get clothes for yourself, right? You need to know your body size. You need to know what your clothes size is and how it fits, and the one that you're going to wear that would not strain you, that will not squeeze you together, but that will give you a proper freedom that you can move around. That's exactly what working with tools are or is, right? You don't just go for tools because company A is using that tool. You need to understand, backed up with data, why they're using that tool, and if that tool will work for you in your own company. All right. So let's step further. So there's a talking about strategy now, right? A strategy framework that we can adopt, in balancing the tools, the infrastructure, and the manpower as as managers, as senior QA professionals, and as even a regular QA team member, for us to uphold, you know, um, the effectiveness and then the productivity of our team in terms of using tools. All right. So the framework is using the access, align, and iterate framework, right? Access, align, and iterate framework. Now, the step one, which is access, is you need to look at and say, what do we currently have in terms of tools, infrastructure, and the team capacity. What's your team capacity? What are the tools that you have currently? What is the infrastructure that you have right now? Right? And what are the gaps or pain points? What the tools you're using right now? What pain points is it giving the team currently? Is it that the team cannot we are unable to record high level number of test cases? We are unable to be able to run regression thoroughly because the tool is a paid version tool, or is free. We cannot use it. We need to get a better tool that will help us to be able to acquire what we're looking for. That will give us the much more visibility that we're looking for in our tests, right? The gaps. What gaps? What are the pain points? Like I've already explained, the gaps, the pain points, the inabilities, the shortcomings that will say, okay, this is why we want to move to this tool. This is why I want to adopt this tool, right? Step two is to align, right? Align means matching your tool to team skills and actual needs, right? You don't employ, as much as I love, or yeah, let's say I love exploration. I love to learn new things, on even on the job. You don't get in a QA engineer who is a JavaScript person or who is a Java person, and then as soon as the person will just say, hey, welcome. We are using um what now? Let me see. We're using Ruby and Rails, for example, or we're using AI. Maybe the person I wasn't aware of AI before, and giving the person a KPI and saying that, what, we want you to, in the next 30 days, we want you to come up with something, 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 something. Like, you ask yourself, how is that possible? Don't forget that everybody has their brain thinking, right? How do I, how we assimilate things, how we learn things. The best way people thrive, or the best people grow, is when they are used with their environment, with what they are really doing, what they're used to. That's how they grow. And then they gradually transition from that into something better that they've learned. It might not be 100%, but at least, they've learned it, they've understood it, and then they can begin to make progress and begin to, give results. So, second one says scale infrastructure based on usage and not by hyping. Many places are basically hyping tools. Oh, AWS cloud. Oh, browser stack. Oh, what's it called? There are a lot of tools out there. Oh, device farms, and maybe it was shared on LinkedIn. Oh, this tool is good. You can do this and that, but you've not practically even check to see if it aligns with your team. If it's what your team can use now, or your team can still, work with something else that will not cost you or break the bank, or what will make your team to even understand. That your team understands this tool. Do they understand this tool? Do they know how to use it? Right? Not just about saying the name. Oh, it's sound. Have you used Cypress? Have you used device farm? Have you used browser stack? No, it's about properly ensuring that you scale your infrastructure based on usage, on how much you want to use it, not just by hyping it and using it just buying it for buying sake, and then nobody will use it because nobody knows how to use it. right? Next one is to align your work with current manpower, not wishful thinking. So you need to align your work with your current manpower. Look at the size of people that you have in your team, as managers, as QA leaders, as senior QAs, or as QA teams. How many of you are in your team, and then align, the work, right, with with the manpower that with your manpower to so I can get effective productivity. Um, the step three is to iterate, right? Iterate. So check back quarterly on team growth. So you've gotten a tool, you've aligned, assessed your team to see what tool works best for you and your team. What you need to do is to do a quarterly check-ins even after you've done the trainings and they've understood what to do on those tools, and they're working with it. You need to also check back and say, okay, how far have we gone? How much ground have we covered on this tool? Are we really using the tool the right way? Should be used. What's the value that this tool is bringing for us right now, right? And then you just do the comparison to see if we are on track, right? On if the tool is actually allowing us to be more productive or is taking us 2 or 3 steps backwards, right? And then the last one they say adjust based on feedback, performance, and business goals. So most times, business goals, business needs makes us to change, to make decisions, to get new tools, to shift focus because maybe we want to shift things faster, and we want a tool that will help us to be able to scale quickly, because able to go to production quickly. We want to go on automation. We want to test things faster. We we have to like check and align those things with the business goals. And then also the feedback that I've gotten from our team, oh, this maybe majority like they don't like this tool, it's not really working expected, or we love this tool, let's keep on using this tool, it's fine. Maybe the team tried out the free version and then they loved it and they're like, okay, you know what, this will be bad if you can adopt this tool, and then can we get the paid version so that it's going to be easy for us. Like Cypress is a paid version. When you're trying to, it's free at some point. It's paid. You begin to pay when you want to adopt the dashboard feature. So you need to have a view of your tests. So if your team says, oh, I think it's nice for us to have the Cypress paid version for us to be able to manage, comparing with the team goals and the company goals, it aligns. Then you proceed to picture business. The performance is basically how well the team has behaved, have performed on that tool, how much the scale, how much ROI the tool or the manpower has helped to to improve, in terms of the the work, right? That is being worked. Okay, I'm just going to take a pause here. Not questions, but just want to get like, if you are following our together. I hope if I've not bamboozled you with too many technical words, can you share? Just give you a thumbs up, if you're fine and you're good. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, next slide. So we have the core principles. What are the core principles? Don't buy tools to cancel that your team or as a personal person, as a QA, going through, just go and pay for tools and say, I can pay for it. Okay, it's just $15. It's not cheap. It's not expensive. No, just don't buy. I mean, if you have a lot of free open source that you can play around, you can use, right? So if your team doesn't need it, there's no point buying or getting it. Just use what works currently, and then if there's a need that you need to get one, then you can proceed, right? Scale infrastructure as you grow, not just because it is cool. So your infrastructure for deployment, for testing, for regression tests and all that, as you grow, as the team grows, as the team expands, begin to scale, We have we have 5 QAs before. Now we have an additional 5, additional 3. We need to expand the usage of our infrastructure so that this will help the QA team, to be able to test faster, to be able to do things, to be able to run regression tests, to support the team in a very fast way. We need to get a new tool that will help us do that. Maybe we need to get, maybe before you're working with Excel sheets, to log logbooks and all that. It sounds too slow. And then we want something that will be faster. I can proceed. So let's get Jira, to are not using Jira up until now. Some things are not even using. Some are just immediately on just jump on a call and then they talk and all that. QA or everybody, they just share like Excel sheets. This is all we do, XYZ, and everybody gets the context of what they're doing, right? And then they move on. Not some companies are not using Jira. Some companies are even using the major. I mean, so they're okay with it. They're like, why do I need to go and buy Jira when I have Excel that I can use to arrange? Some people are very good at arranging projects. If they show you, they open Excel sheet for you, or project management tool, you will see how well they are aligned, just like Jira. And like, they don't need now, right? So, next line is people are your most valuable investment. Train and support them always. I always say this a lot, right? People that we hire today, the people that we work with are the most important people that we can ever get, right? They cannot be replaced by tools. They cannot be replaced by anything, right? Because behind every tool is a human effort. Behind every tool, I said that again. Behind every tool that you see today, that I used today, there was a human effort, meaning that every human counts. Every human investment is worth it. Every human investment is very important. We have what we have, right? We cannot be replaced by tools. We cannot be replaced by AI. We cannot be replaced by robots. Human beings will always be human beings. Behind robots is a human. Behind AI is a human input of data that was streamlined, that was checked, that gives you what you have with AI today. Garbage in, garbage out is what AI is doing. Somebody somewhere, a group of people, person somewhere, were there to input data. Instead of they have to feed this. They fed AI with data. Who fed AI with data? AI did not feed AI. It is a human that fed AI that had to put data in it, and then we are using it today. So just to say that human factor is very, very important. Sorry, please, just sorry, 1 second, please, just 1 second.
All right, thank you everybody for staying on the call while we wait for Olajide to get back. You can use the chat box to drop your questions, your comments about what we just learned or what we are learning. For just as a point of note as well, you might be asking, why are we learning this? It's a manager's level kind of training, and if you have observed, our webinars are divided into 3. The beginning edition, intermediate, and also this training is particularly for managers, and that doesn't mean that beginners cannot listen to it, because definitely we are training people to grow from analysts to managers. So you are also in the right place, right? So thank you so much for listening so far. If you have not joined our community, this is TestarsQuarter community, and this is where you want to be, because we do a lot of mentorship program to ensure that nobody's left behind. Being in QA field, it can be so overwhelming. A lot of tools, you're hearing different type of things you have to be up to date with, and you'll be asking yourself, who sent me? Who told me that I can do this? So that kind of thing. So, but when you're going together with a lot of people, you have support, you have people that can help you your journey, and hmm, you might be surprised. We have quite a lot of people like engineering managers in our community, because most of them are busy. They are just quiet and they are right inside the community. So, Olajide, are you back?
Yeah. Thank you. I'm back. Sorry, I had to just a call came in. I'll quickly pick up a call.
All right, you're welcome.
Apologies for that. Okay. How about I call you short? You can complete your statement.
We'll do that
That's fine.
after the session. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Sorry for that. Breaking transmission. Okay. In communication. All right. So I was talking about people, right? So let's move to the next one. So the next line says that we should prioritize what's crucial at the moment and what can wait. So as managers, even you don't have to be. So I joined and I heard what Faith was saying. So you don't have to be a manager even to be part of this. Even as individual QA engineers, analysts, you also work with tools on your own. At a point, you have to make your own decisions. Some of us are like a standalone QA engineer in a team. You're the only one that is working indirectly. You're already a manager, right? So it does not mean that you have to be a senior or manager QA, right? You have to make your own decisions yourself, decide what works, because sometimes you're like, you are the QA engineer. What do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about our process? That's where you can also chip in your own idea too, right? This makes you much more valuable. So you prioritize what is very critical to you as a manager or as a QA person. What is more important? What is critical in terms of your tools? Um, what do you use? What works for you? What makes you more productive? That will not make that won't get stuck. All right. Sometimes when there are too many tools, so you get redundant. When there's too many tools to use, most of the time you see a lot of companies will tell you, we must know C sharp, we must know JavaScript, and then before joining our company, by the time you join the company, you find out that they're not even doing any of it at all. It's kind of funny, but you go through their QA processes or their tests and everything, and then you join the team, and actually they're not even giving an eye for automation. And you ask yourself, how, right? So it happens. So, but let's as managers, let's prioritize what is very critical for us at the moment, and then what are things that can wait, that we can attend to later. The tools that we can use, the manpower. If it's important for us to hire more people, do we need to hire more people? Do we need to scale up our infrastructure? If our infrastructure is doing very well, there's no point switching from Jenkins to GitHub Actions. If Jenkins is working fine for you, stick with Jenkins. If you are using GitHub Actions, is fine with you. Fine. If you're using GitHub faster, makes you test well. It makes be able to go to market on time without any issues. It gives you visibilities and gives you return for your investments. Why do you have to want to change, your tools or your infrastructure or your manpower, all of a sudden, or you have a manpower of like 5 people, like this team is too, they are too much. What are they doing? And then you cut the power manpower to like 3 or 2. It's going to affect you, right? You feel it. You're going to feel the heat. So we need to properly look at what works, why we are doing it, how critical is it? Is it what we can do, must do, or should do, right? If it is can do, if it must do, which is critical, like okay, we have to do this. Should do, maybe it's a maybe, right? Tentative, we might skip it, right? So what next? Let's go to the next slide. So best practices. What are best practices, right? What's unused or redundant, right? right? Like I said, we have a lot of us or companies or managers, we have a lot of tools that we're not even using that are redundant. Let's check into those tools that's costing us money. We're just paying for we're just paying for those tools every month and just not using them as much as we should, right? We can start paying for that and go for an open source tool that will help us to get things done better, right? And also, of course, help us to save costs, right? Involve the team, right? Especially in infrastructure decisions, they are the ones using it, right? As managers, if you're a manager here, you're a QA manager, you are leadership level, always try to involve your team in decision making. Talk to them about these tools. But most times as managers, we don't really do much. We could just help them we really want to just plan the infrastructure, plan the setting up and all that, and then we just manage it. They are the ones that will definitely use those tools very well. So we need to hear from them, hear their point of view. Do they, how well does this tool work? How well does this tool, suit them? How well does this suit make them more productive, more active, and more visible, right? And then we have that conversation and we have that discussion. From there, we can draw the conclusions of what will work, what we will have, and if it's a go or a no go at all. So one word: communication. Communicate with your team members, hear their thoughts, know their pains, know what they need, and how you can support them. Upskill first, right? Training is mostly important. Like training people, train your team members, even as a standalone QA engineer, or skilling yourself is very important. Learn new things. Don't overrush yourself. Learn it instead of hiring people over and over. The people that you have in-house, you can upskill them. You can give them training courses to go and learn to look on, and then maybe you could hire just maybe one person who is much more knowledgeable in that area of those tools and infrastructure. And then while the other people who are in-house can learn, learn, and also that person can also support them, to aid their learning. So as they are learning, they are doing the practical, and they have someone that they can ask questions, which will help them to learn faster, right? Then also start simple, scale smart, right? I like to always tell people, don't rush, right? Start simple. You just started learning Cypress today. You are already looking at how you want to put to CI/CD. How? You must even finish learning Cypress to some point. You want to jump to the next point. You need to start small, gradually, right? Write your tests, learn the basics of the test, move from point A to point B with precision. You move gradually. You learn things, pace. It might look like you're being slow, but you're making a lot of significant progress because if you learned how to install Cypress today, you learned how to write your first test today, you learn how to, how to, run the test in terminal. That's a great progress for today. Tomorrow you move to the next step and the next step and the next step until you feel very more comfortable and more relaxed, right? You don't learn by assuming, right? You learn by getting your hands dirty. You learn by learning, right? And that's how you grow, right? Um, yeah. Next slide is okay. So I have a closing thoughts. So okay, the closing thoughts is say balance is not one and done, right? It's you tend to begin to see how you can balance it together, your team, the people, the tools that you use, which one should be much than the other, right? And the alignment. So for managers and leaders, right? In balancing the tools that power, you must always have like your regular check-in with your people, the people that you manage, you have your realignments, hear from them, help them grow, teach them. The reason why you are leaders is because you are ahead, right? You tend to understand a lot of concepts where the team members will have issues. You are there to help them, check-ins, one-on-one sessions, and have the time to be able to understand what their pains are and how you can fit in to help them. In the long run, it's about the company. It's about doing the right thing. It's about producing a good product that is useful for the team and for the company itself. Um, Lastly, after this, okay, so there is a question. So after the session, right, take a fresh look at your current setup as a team. What do you have currently, and ask these questions. Are these tools, and infrastructures and team really working for you? Are they working in sync together? Are they working for you? The people that you have right now, the tools you're using right now, and the infrastructure, are they in sync together? Are they giving you the vibes that you want? In terms of making you productive, in terms of making you very, very, very ahead, and visible, right? So then I go to my final point. So my final point says says work with tools that support your team, okay, to be more productive and not reactive. So work with tools, get tools around tools that will make you very productive, that will make you um push you out there, that will make the business know that you are really doing what you're supposed to do, right? And not making you reactive. Some tools have made a lot of people lazy. Yeah. So many people are so dependent on tools, they're dependent on infrastructure, that even the manpower are no longer doing anything. They just relaxed because we have a tool that can do it. Oh, why do I have to bother when I have Postman that can run my test every morning? Even as much as you have Postman, you still have to involve the manpower. The manpower needs to be there to help you to check, do some manual testing, manual checks. Or why do I have to bother myself when I have this, and that will help me take my screenshot and all those things. Don't forget that no matter how much we do automation or whatever tool we use, I said it before, that the manpower cannot be overemphasized. The importance of the manpower effort is like 1,000% over 100%. It's really, really important. That's why we are here. We need human effort, we need human energy, we need the human knowledge, we need the human presence, right, in ensuring that we continuously deliver good products, right, as a team. Then lastly, this is like a word for us that says, in tech, tools won't fix imbalance. Smart teams win by aligning the right system with the right people. So as leaders, we need to know how to align the right system with the right people. You getting the right people into the system, and then you get a fantastic and an amazing results. If you get the wrong people into the system, even if the system is as small as how you can describe it. If you have the wrong people there, they will misuse the system. They will not give you what you want. You get a wrong vibe and a wrong feeling, right? So we need to work alongside getting the right system set up, and also getting the right people that will make use of the system to ensure us much more productive and at all times. And finally, oh, okay, thank you. So I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that balancing of human power, infrastructure, and tools is actually it's very, very important to be able to keep the team running and making you very much more productive at all time. I'll stop here to just take questions. If there are any questions, so that we can take that. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm so glad to be amongst you guys. I'm still learning too, so I'm also learning myself. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Olajide, for that powerful session. It's very important for us to listen to all this kind of training, occasionally, because while some of us are still growing in this industry, we know a lot of you have gone ahead, and it is very good to tap from this knowledge. And just like you mentioned, that even though you might just be one person in your team, you're already a leader right there. So thank you so much for all the insightful words that you shared with us. It's very appreciated. So it is time for us to take some questions. If you have any questions, kindly use the chat box. Already we have one. Udukwe Awesh is asking that as a beginner QA engineer with little or no knowledge of automation, which tool would be best to start learning? I think we should take the first part of our message, of our question. Olajide.
Yeah, thank you. So, hi, Modupe. Okay, so I can see as a beginner QA engineer, we need to experience of automation. Which tool would be best to start learning? So, like you already said, the answer is already the question that you already asked. As a beginner QA, so you're a beginner, I will tell you to focus more on. I mean, I don't want to say manual testing, right? Focus more on the traditional QA tests, which is um, understanding APIs, understanding microservices, understanding bug reports, worksheets, test cases, scenarios, and all that. When you understand, when you know all those things at some point, you yourself you already know that, okay, oh, I think I've outgrown those things, right? And then you can now begin to look out to venture into automation. And I would say that also advise that you should also begin to start to build portfolios for yourself. Build portfolios for each of your milestones. You created test cases, you tested some things on Postman, using Postman or whatever tool you're using, right? Build things that people can create your portfolio that people can share with people to see that, oh, I did this and I did that, right? Then, if you now want to go into your tools, I would advise that you look for a tool that you fully understand. So first of all, is what language would you want to start with? Do you want to start with Java? You want to start with JavaScript, Python, right? Whatever one that you like, go online, read about those languages, understand them very well, and then pick one, just one, right? And then begin to learn that. So as you learn that language, you can also learn different. You also want to start to understand the different frameworks that you can use that language for, and even in automation. From there, you really understand. You understand what approach you can take from there, and then I think from that you should be fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Would you like to take the second part of that message, of
Okay.
that question?
Okay. So second question says, I noticed that employers often request candidates who have experience with tools such as Playwright, Cypress, and Selenium, among others. My question is it possible for someone to learn and have knowledge of multiple tools, even if they have not yet started using any of the tools for personal and practical work? Hmm. That's the question I'm going to ask you is so it's funny. It's funny. The two questions that you have asked, the answers are already inside the question that you're asking already. So if I ask you now, what is it? So let me ask you indirectly now. Let me say, how do I answer this question now? Hmm. Is it possible? Is it possible to drive a car and also drive a truck at the same time, even when you have not gone to driving school? Wait, I want to answer that question now. so, so, so,
No, it's not possible.
okay, so thank God. I thought you already got the answer. So you need to. I mean, you need to start from somewhere now. You have to learn one. I think I already said this in the other question that I said, right? Learn one language. It's not possible. You cannot learn multiple things at the same time. You have to learn one. Yeah, start first one first. So if you don't start from somewhere, how do you want to get to the next part? So yeah, that's.
No, thank you so much for that answer. Please, guys, if you have any other question, kindly drop it in the seems maybe like a startup or something, and then there are no proper structure. Let's say you don't have a PM, you just have developers and then QA engineers. So in that case, QA engineers, they don't have like something that is a tracker for like their team lead to know exactly what they have done in a day. It's just everything is being said at the stand up. So at the end of everything, you just have to ask, okay, what did you do? So in that kind of environment, what do you think what do you advise?
So I think so in that kind of place, environment where you don't have a tracker or the QA engineer or what you're doing and all that and what to do. I just think you just have to be proactive there and take the bull by the horn and create things yourself, right? What I mean is you have like the likes of Excel sheets, Google Sheets, likes, so that you can use to track what you're working on, and you can use that to make yourself very visible, so that so that at the end of the day, if you're having like a one-on-one or something, you can always say, "Oh, I did this, I did that," and you can show them what you're able to achieve, right? And as you apart from as you test, you get issues, there'll be bugs. So I'd also advise also attempt to create bug reports on the side of things, even as you communicate with developers to get things fixed. And either on a sprint by sprint level, or if it's by week development cycle, or whatever thing the team is doing at that point in time, right? The idea is just to make yourself visible. The idea is to make yourself, very proactive. That okay, this guy don't, even though we don't really have structure, we don't have tools, right? He or she is able to, come up with something, right? And also, another thing is also to talk to. I believe that you will definitely have a line manager, right? Is to also speak to your line manager or whoever you are reporting to, right, on how best you can represent. You can be able to showcase all the milestones that you are doing in the team, right? If you ask that kind of question, your manager will be able to say, "Oh, you know what? Pull up an Excel sheet or do something or use this to track what you're doing." And I'll check in with you maybe next month when we have another session and other stuff. It shows that you really care and you just don't want to sit on the fence and fold your hands and do nothing. I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Olajide, for having us. Are
Thank
you
you.
the one
Thank you
that had,
for
yeah, the one that had you?
I think it's both. Both came. All right. Okay.
Thank you so much. You're
Yeah.
so
I don't think I
elaborate
have any questions.
here. So let me check again. Imo, you raised your hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Like to say
Yes, I did. I did. Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Olajide. Thank you
Okay.
for the session. Yeah. So I have a question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around this. So, in a scenario where okay, like you've talked about balance between tools, infrastructure, and manpower. Manpower, like we can't overemphasize that. But a situation where one is working in a company that probably they see QA as an afterthought, trying to put things together, but more emphasis on getting developers to build the things they need to build, and the ratio of QA to developers is just outrageous. Like you're having like a ratio of one QA engineer to like say 5 or 6 developers, and then the QAs are overwhelmed. You're requesting business to hire more people, and then they give the excuse, not yet, not yet. And then you are trying to like cover as many things as you can. Your test plans, your test cases, your test cases, your test cases, automation to some level, and then you propose to the business about having tools and also taking advantage of probably some gaps that are occurring, probably like testing your mobile device, and you bring out like possible tools that one could use, and they give you, okay, go and do the research, come to us, possible tools we can use for proof of concepts, to see which one would align, and then do that, and then the business turns you down, say no money, these things are charged and all of that. How can such a QA person like get business to move in a direction that supports QA, supports the work we are doing, like that balance, manpower, they don't want to go, tools, you're dragging your feet and saying the cost and all of that, and yet they want everything touched. They want quality at the topmost. So what should a QA person in such position do?
Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. I think so. The question, what I believe that will work, first of all, is to find your way into their code base and try to scatter things. You scatter all the things. They will trust. They will see that QA is more important. And I'm just joking. Okay, so now what I think you should do, what I think as a QA team. So let me ask this question. Okay? Do you have I want you to be very interactive in asking these questions more. So I want you to omit your mic. So I'll be asking you questions and then you answer, and then we'll get to the final points to answer. So first of all, that team now, do you have a lead? Do you have a QA lead, or like someone who is overseeing the QA team in general, whether it's even if you are 1 to 5 developers or 1 to 7, but there's someone who interfaces with QA?
Yes, there is.
Okay, so the QA team in general, have you guys sat down together? Okay, yeah, you've already spoken to the management, and then they're not actually forthcoming. Now, what tools do you guys? Okay, don't let me say you guys. What tool are they using at the moment right now on the QA? Are they using any tool to work currently?
All right. So currently, they use Jira for bulk tracking, Notion for PRDs and documentations, open source tools, just Cypress, and you don't have access to dashboards and all. Basic your mobile devices to test. But there have been gaps recently when deploying. People with different devices are having different experiences. QA is limited to catch these things. And we're saying, okay, one, we are handling things on Excel. We want something where we can have more like a general repository. It's not like everyone is handling their own Excel sheets, probably like a test trail for test management. From there, you can also trigger notifications and bugs and all of that. Then probably browser stack or apply tools. We do a lot of visual testing and all of that. So, but we're even looking at having a tool that has probably everything embedded. Maybe test management is there, integration to CI/CD. At least we have test scripts and all of that. So we just migrate that. But I mean, they give us the work, you pitch, you do all of that, and they turn you down. It's frustrating.
Okay, welcome to the club. I think I'm sure you're not the only person that is expressing that. A lot of people, So the idea. So this is what I wanted to know, right? I was asking a question. I'm going to answer the question gradually. Now, a lot of companies don't want to spend money. Trust me,
yes.
They don't want to spend money. A lot of companies don't want to spend money, and because we are paying. How much is the sale? Is $1,000. They don't have that money. Even if they do, they will not pay. Right? It's like, don't you have open tools that you can use? There's some will even open book for you. See, I read somewhere there's this tool that you can use, because they don't want to spend money. So what I would advise is, in terms of test what you can test. That's what I would advise. Test what you can test. You cannot test everything. In the seven myths of software testing. If you go to the ISTQB, they tell you that what testing is not exhaustive, right?
Yeah.
So test what you can test. You cannot over test everything. Even if users are having issues on 4 devices. Do you want to have the entire device to yourself to test? Right. So test what you can test. So what I would say is ensure the QA team should ensure that every time that you deploy, you have there are no major critical bugs that keeps eating production. Right. You test properly, you are very sure you have your regression test suite created, and you follow that checklist, you run it, and then and over time, even if it takes you extra hours or extra days, so one thing I also say is this: be very confident when you say we want to go live in 1 hour, and you are saying that is not possible. Don't be a superhero and say we will go. Tell them. So one of those, you need to let them see your value and see your worth. Right? And like only they've pushed to QA now tests. You want to tell them that, look, QA, we own this space. Oh, QA, hurry up now. I want to go. Says, hello, sir, hello, man. We are still testing. We need to do this, do that, and then we want to be sure that everything is working very well. We cannot release this product to you until we have properly test this stuff. And at that point, they see that you guys really matter. You guys are important. You know what you're doing. But when they say QA test, we want to go live in 30 minutes, and then you've already tested it in 15 minutes, so they can go live. You are not making them see your value, right? Sometimes I do some. You delay some things on purpose, not because you don't want to allow them to go, but you look at it, go backwards and forth, think it through, run the test again, check it over and over again. Of course, it cannot be enough, but so that when they go live and then things work well, they'll be like, the QA team did well, right? So you need to one what I'll say is that you need to own your space. You need to ensure that you know what you're doing as QA teams. Whatever tool you have right now, make you work with it. You can use the Excel sheet, you can use the Jira or bug tracking. You can liaise with your DevOps team. This one is even sometimes like you can even do internally. You can liaise with your DevOps team. Or your engineering manager, right, to give you access to the repository to create a repo for you guys, for the QA team in general, where you can begin to write your test, your automation test. If your team is advanced enough to start doing that, right, you can liaise with your engineering manager. They create a repo for you where the team is. So if you're on GitHub, you create a repository for API and UI tests on that same GitHub for QA. Then work with development with the DevOps team to create a webhook in such a way that whenever there's a deployment that is going on to either dev or whatever environment that you have, it triggers your tests and run your tests for you. And then you can also take it a step further to send you email notifications to those stubborn stakeholders that feel like QA don't matter. Right. So that when things begin to break, right, they get notification, they get notified that XYZ is failing. So the point is be more visible. So they will begin to take you seriously when you're more visible, when you know what you are doing. Right. So don't fight with them anymore. Don't argue with them. They don't want to give you tools. It's fine. Test what you can test and leave the rest. But use what is at your disposal. There's Jira, log your tools, log the issue. We have GitHub, we have Cypress for now. Leave Cypress dashboard. Use the other ways you can integrate dashboards into Cypress without buying anything, right? In the long run, all we are doing is to save you from unnecessary stress. Do you get? To help you. Yeah. So I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. You have. I will add this. I will add this to my existing machinery, right? Because I just ensured I told like the rest of the teammates, okay, for stuffs you're doing that you feel you have tested your best, but you're having like some doubts, just draft out no matter how small a report and let key stakeholders sign to it. They read and all of that. So I'll include this to my arsenal.
That works. So that works too. So I mean, there should be like a sign off for every test that you do. So and then when they tell you that we are in a hurry, we cannot wait, it's fine, no problem. Sign that I tell them that sign here or give it send a mail that whatever thing that happens on production, if it fails,
It's not true,
QA
exactly.
will not be responsible. So if they do that, then you have pretty more impacts for the QA team, right? They begin to see that yes, QA is working, they know what they are doing. But when they are seeing bugs everywhere, the normal regular bugs that a QA should have caught, and it keeps happening over and over again. That one alone is enough to say which tool are we buying? They're not working, right? So
Sure.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olajide. And Imo, I have spotted you. All of you that are in the community, always hiding. You will not hide. That's how I caught Rashidat on one of these posts. Thank you so much, everybody, for the
Yeah.
questions and the answer. Thank you, Olajide.
Hi.
We are.
Hello, good evening. How are you doing?
Who is that? Somebody is talking.
Mm-hmm. Hi. I'm Kelechi.
Yeah, thank you so much. You have a question?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, how do they? So, I know that almost everyone experiences this. I guess, how do you handle when developers work, you test, then they deploy, and you're still like the ones that have worked before, they are broken, and then they'll come, oh, I'll check it. Their usual language, oh, I'll check it. Like there's constant break at every point in time. Even though like, okay, let me say you're at the point of go live and then you have finished testing. And then the product will come and say, oh, something has been missed. And then engineering head will agree and say, okay, let's add it. Customers need it. Okay. And then you test all over again. It's not like you've implemented 15 features that you've tested over and over again and working. But every day you test, there's some form of instability. And when you get to the point of stability, once the developer work deploys it is spoiled, you will retest again. Can one enforce that it's not so hard? I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I guess you get my point, right?
So yeah, sorry. I can already feel your frustration in the way you are explaining already.
No,
So
it's not me. I actually found someone that's going to, so I'm not like speaking for the
okay,
person.
the person now,
Yes.
okay. So the first thing first is the person. Those developers, we need to lay hands on them. Pray,
I know, right?
pray for them. So
I've experienced it in my own place, but I have someone that is so frustrated right now that, yeah. And I think most times, even the
so
environment do not support it. Most times say, okay, please check it. And they have a way of once they key into giving the vibe of, oh, I'm interested in checking it. It gives us the vibe, okay, please, this one wants to check it. So and then they will not relax. They don't see the need to like, I don't want to hear that something has broken or try to enforce something. Do you get? It's not like
yeah,
I'll check it. Oh, go and check it and give us feedback. Then release a new build. Then deploy and then inform you. It's always the cycle. Oh yeah, go and check it.
yeah. So it is a norm, right? I think most of the people that I think that everyone has asked this night is like a norm. It's a day-to-day thing that happens in mostly every team, right? So if I ask, okay, the person is not here, right? I'll have to ask, does the person actually does the person write code? So one thing I always tell people is you must, as QA engineers, you must have a little empathy on developers. Know that they are humans, and nobody would want to hear that something was working before and that stopped working. I don't blame them too, because they spend hours to create things, think about the logics of how it's going to work, and then they push to you and say it's not working and all that stuff. It takes the grace of God and proper patience, all right, to not have, end up going physical if you had the chance. If you're not working remotely, you can go physical on developers, you can end up getting yourselves and all that stuff, because it could get crazy when you have to test things over and over again. It's not working and all those stuff, right? Yes. But so one is have the empathy. Two is to our advise the person to work closely with developers. Even if they say yeah, go and test it, there's a way you can create a relationship between yourself. Like me, like most times when I'm in interviews, I'm like, how do you handle conflict between yourself and your team? and developers. I've never had one. That's the truth. I've never had one. It's how you it's how how you handle them, how you're able to work with them. You build friendship, not just about working relationship, but you also work create like a family kind of relationship because not to the point where you ignore things and say, oh, it's not working now, you're a party. No. But you know what I mean? Like you are very close and you can say you have like let me use the word you have their key in your hands. So if you just like this, okay, no, I'll do it, and they'll respond to you, right? So we need to that person needs to get closer to the developers, more, and also do proper communication also. And another thing also I also advise is I don't know if the person also does testing manually at some points. The person might want to introduce automation tests, right, for regression.
Yeah, so oh yeah, so I mean, the relationship is cool, right?
Yeah.
But I think automation has been a hard thing to achieve at the firm
Okay. Why is
because
that?
there because there is you implement something today, like there is always constant change. Like I
Mm-hmm.
understand that automation tries where you implement a feature and you know that this
Yeah.
feature is going to be stable in a long time, like you're not planning.
Yeah.
And then the product team, there's always constant let's see that they're not even sure of what they want, but yes, let everybody just
So
do what to do,
yeah.
maybe like
So
say we did
yeah.
they are idle. So that has been first test and everything else tested because they started building a second version of that same application, different features, and then that one is gone.
mm,
You get so it's
mm,
always a like constant change. So it's been such a hard thing, and then they don't even give time, opportunity at sprint level to say, okay, do automation testing or even do maybe start doing the code. They will pack like 10 user stories in the sprint and you are not able to achieve in code
mhm,
all the time.
mm.
Or let me say
Yeah. So that's a problem.
yeah, continue.
Okay, no, no, go. Are you done? Sorry.
No,
Just
I'm
go
okay.
ahead.
I'm okay. I'm
Yeah.
just privileged to explain it because I was there before then I left.
You left, but you ran. Which one?
Then around my two church trips.
You said you left. Did you leave or you ran
I
for your life?
ran
Because
for my life.
exactly, that's a good use of English. Okay. Yeah. So you already said the answer already. The problem is that that team or that company itself, they don't have a structure. And if they don't properly align the structure with what their needs, then it will be frustrating for the QA person, right? There'll be a lot of people, and then maybe you have developers who
Sorry,
are
I
not.
didn't hear you. Come back. What did you say?
Can you hear me now?
Clearly, yes.
Yeah, so I'm saying that the problem now is majorly lies with the team, with the company itself. There's a problem with the structure. So they need to properly align the structure and on what they want, right? And then constantly changing things will not make things better. I don't know why they're changing things over and over again. It could change things could change maybe like in iteration mode, like maybe after release of version one, and then you can go back and say, okay, what did you not do better in version one? That we can do better in version two, right? That's why I believe that change should come, not changing too many things in just one iteration, and then at the end of the day, we cannot even go live. You can't even both of what you're going live on. It's not a good approach, right? So the company or the team itself needs to decide on what they want to do, what do they what do they want to achieve, right? And then also, I think which is the reason why the developers are giving lackadaisical attitude towards things. Because a company that has a good structure and I know where they are going to, developers would help you to build what you want in a very good way alongside the QA. So it is
Exactly.
is
It
not
has actually made most of the teams to be so unmotivated and they don't even say like even doing sprint planning, like just do the sprint planning, let us go. We are not even asking you questions again. should be want trust industry, bring it. What we can do, we'll do.
Mm.
So that's like the new attitude now
No
for
problem.
her in her team.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, right, I really don't really have much. What I'm going to say is let them define their structure first. So she has to be she has to be very, very patient. And if she cannot handle it, then she will just have to do what you did to run away and go find peace somewhere else. Because it's better to have a peace of mind than just being in a place where you keep getting frustrated and then your work is not showing. Because in that kind of company now, it's difficult for you to get promoted. It's difficult for you to grow because nothing is working, right? Your work as a QA is not visible. Nobody would want to, understand what you're doing because they're not seeing what you're doing, right? There's just bugs every time, things are breaking, are failing, and the QA is there. You get most times without even doing anything wrong, you'll be feeling guilty, you get. So it's from the head. Once the head is well behaved, the whole body will follow. So the head, the engineering manager, whatever people that are there needs to align properly, know what they are doing, know what they want, go for it, and then everybody will have peace at the end of the day. I hope I was able to answer the question a bit, not to confuse you.
No, you did not. That was actually good. I mean, everything is from the top, but then most
Yeah,
times politics do not let the top to do their own because the top,
yeah,
there's pressure from stakeholder to the top, and then the top has joined them and then is now
yeah.
confused on supporting team or pressuring team to deliver. So
Just
I
for
think
yeah, sorry, just for laughing, right? Just to laugh. I'm sure that your friend, but when she was applying for that job, they told her that she'd be working in a serene environment. And what was that one usually call it again? No pressure, user friendly.
pressure, user
Uh,
friendly, well read.
and then she
You
comes
go
in and
enter, you go see sugar,
oh yeah, like a family here.
sugar
That's what they
format.
tell you. It's not family, Coco. Just go there and then they frustrate your life. It's everywhere. I mean, not everywhere. Most of the companies they tell you like, oh, bonus, performance bonus. If a company if a company wants to frustrate you, when they will put a performance bonus, that one you will work tire, right? So yeah, all right.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much.
All
Thank
right, thank
you.
you very much. All right, yeah, cheers.
Thank you for that question, Olajide. Thank you so much for answering. It seems like all the people on this call, you love this session and you don't want us to end it. So,
I swear.
did you know that this is almost 10 p.m.? What are you still doing on a call on a Friday? You people
Well,
like work, watching TestarsQuarter. But then,
we have to work now.
so this is where we are going to be wrapping it up for tonight. It's so nice to have you guys on the call. As we speak, this is already on YouTube. You can follow our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can rewatch it as well to pick more insight from the session. Thank you so much, Olajide.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Do have a lovely evening, everybody, and have a great weekend. Thank you so much for having me here. See you next time. Cheers. All right. Peace out.
Bye.